What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we've got a fantastic guest, David Greenspan, is here with us. Man, we're getting the show off to a rolling start already. But this is going to be a very, very good episode. We're going to talk about how to get clients on social media without paying, what it actually takes to connect with people, build real connections, real relationships online, and how that filters down all the way into the content that we put out and what we talk about online. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into as always. First of all, the junior grandmaster himself, freshly shaven and pleasantly ensconced in your box where you so belong, right there in the co-pilot seat. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
Oh man, I'm never leaving my box. Me loving my box. It is a beautiful Friday. You know, David and I, none of us ever really spoken before. He was kind of checking out kind of who we were before he got on the show. He saw my beers and calls. He's like, "Ooh, beer? I could get behind this." Gets on the call, and Gene and I are rapping about different beers. He's like, "Beers again? Oh my God, these are my people." And of course, Johnson summarily talks shit about drinking beer, so we had to slap him around about not loving beer, which we don't understand how a red-blooded American male cannot like beer. Matt, how do you not like beer? That's just un-American, even un-Canadian.
I know it's un-North American. You know, as I told you in the lead up to the show, as in any room, I am the exception that proves the rule. I am pleasantly contrarian. I have no problem being the outlier that doesn't like the things that most people like.
That's so true. I've traveled the world with you, and that is absolutely the God's truth. I mean, it's the weirdest damn thing, but
there's in the world, but also within any niche market, there are the many and there are the few, and I live in the few. That is what I've noticed about myself.
What's that? There's a Marine show. They're the many. And
yeah. Well, I didn't say I was proud, but no.
Hey, I'm proud to say that I enjoy beer. So I mean, I'll stand up for everybody here and just take one for the team. I mean, I'm in.
All right. So we're running a little East Coast, West Coast again here because we've got Greg and I out in California. We've got the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja himself, the marketing master, the master of all things exposure. Gene Volpe is here. And then we have David, who you're up in Toronto. We'll get to you and bring you in a second officially. But first of all, guys, welcome.
What up?
All right. So, David, give us I'll set us up for the conversation a little bit, but give us some background on, we talked about where you are. We know you like beer. That's all we know about you. Yeah. We do know that you were introduced to us very kindly by Kathleen Black, who has made like 4 appearances on the show now. So I know that you guys know each other, run in similar circles up in Toronto, but what do you actually do for agents?
Absolutely. First off, Kathleen is absolutely amazing. For anybody that is sort of watching, listening, that doesn't know who she is and what she's up to, I highly encourage you to check her out. She's got a wicked training program and a whole coaching system around helping teams or realtors develop teams, whether that be with, people that are directly related to them or people that are sort of service providers. But anyways, check her out, Kathleen Black. Yeah. For myself, I mean, I'm doing a very similar thing in terms of helping realtors really develop their business. My whole thing is revolved around building mind share. We started about 13 years ago with a company called KITS, which is a keep in touch system. And really what that revolves around is a whole cross-channel marketing suite that realtors can utilize to help stay front and center with their most important audience. Over that time, you start to learn, hey, wait a second, there's a lot of people out here that don't really understand where their business is coming from, who their main audience is, and how to get out there every single day and do things. One thing that I know very, very well is when we look at the education that's up here for realtors, they teach them a lot about the legalities. They teach them a lot about what to do when you're at the table. The one thing they completely miss out on is how the hell do you get to the table? Yeah. And so that's something that I have sort of taken near and dear to my heart. I outside of drinking beer and watching hockey, but it's been one of those things where I want to help the realtor truly understand where their biz comes from. And I mean, one of the typical things we get a lot of times as marketers is, well, how much is it? Or if you've got a product or service to offer, how much is it? And you kind of go, well, like, what can you afford? And they're like, well, it depends what it costs. So you're like, holy shit, you must be filthy rich. And they're like, well, no, not exactly. You're like, so let's go back to this thing of how much money you've got and then be strategic around what we're going to do with your marketing budget. because the reality is you still have like bills and mortgages, rent, and all that other shit to pay for. But we are going to start to use a marketing budget strategically to help you get out there and really build your business. And so when you look at, again, what we were doing as kits or what we continue to do as kits, helping, realtors all across Canada and the United States stay in touch with people and really build mindshare. It's, mindshare itself has taken off a different level where it's become sort of an education platform. Well, not sort of, but it's an education platform. It is a voice. It is meant to be a logical approach to sort of poking people in the forehead and kind of going, hey, let this shit real here. Public speaking, so I'm sort of a nationally or internationally recognized public speaker, I guess you could call it, speaking both in down in the States as well up here in Canada. And with that's all there really to, again, create a connection with people, not to be a sales pitch in any way, but to be a connection with people to go, wait a second, I think that this guy can help me really figure it out in a logical way. So, it's really filled with a lot of high energy, a lot of sort of poking, provoking, having a lot of fun with it. But calling things out that most people kind of have that stigma around calling out, instead of being a bright, shiny object on a stage where everybody gets real pumped up and walks away, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then, I'm too busy. I never really did anything. We try to stay with them. We try to keep that thing going. And there's the beauty of social media. There's the beauty about putting out free content and free value on a regular basis. And that's what Mindshare comes back to. So Mindshare is a top-of-mind, intuitive, instinctive reaction to a product or service. At the same time, Mindshare is a way of operating every single day that if you're out there every day just building a little bit of Mindshare, well, the reality is your brand is building and you're giving yourself more opportunity.
Right. Couldn't agree more. All right, let me set up this a little bit because there was so one of my friends went to did he go? I think he bought the transcripts and the notes from Traffic and Conversion. So he shot them over to me, and I've been going through them. He told me to check out the keynote from Ryan Deiss, which is the founder of Digital Marketers. So of any company that helps people go way down the rabbit hole on digital marketing and automated conversations and sales funnels and all the stuff that is just now kind of working its way into real estate, this is the guy that's like kind of spearheaded this stuff in other industries. So here's what he says. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the action in the past decade has been towards automation, and we're about to see a significant reaction. This reaction is going to come in the form of talking to your customers. Chat with them on Facebook. Use Drift to automate chat conversations on your website and have bots filter but not replace basic human interaction. Here's a crazy idea. Send emails without links. And he sums up, the future of digital marketing belongs in companies who are willing to invest in real-time, one-to-one interactions. So to me, it's hilarious to see this going on because digital marketing, the guy that's spearheading digital marketing is basically telling us what real estate agents have known all along, which is that it's a game of relationships. It's a game of one-to-one conversations. And social media is there to, like, we can use it to leverage it, but like all this stuff that we're just now kind of starting to tinker on has already been experimented with. And he's saying, hey, look, there's going to come a big reaction to this, which I think is hilarious. So anyway, let's go from there. David, what's your initial thoughts to that perspective?
It comes back to the joke I made prior about the pen and being this thing that we etch hieroglyphics onto a rock, right? You look where we came from that day of hieroglyphics, which none of us were around for, but we all know we've been to museums. And we fast forward to the fact that we can call people, right? We've got this thing called the telephone. Absolutely amazing. The day of smartphones came around, and all of a sudden we got empowered to be able to say, wait a second, people apparently don't want phone calls. They want to be texted. So now you're texting people. So we're actually going away from the phone. We're going into text messaging, and emojis. Like, forget the texting with words. Now it's like little thumbs up or like a big smile. And that's supposed to tell somebody what you're feeling. And in essence, it does. It does, yeah. But now you go full circle and you come right back to the same point of the automation and the connections with people and the communication. Look, again, when I come back to where Mindshare came from, one of the things with the automation and the disconnection between actually making the phone call and speaking with people, that's always been a touchy subject with me because I've always really taken the position that you still need to be doing that stuff. So as we've worked through this roller coaster of automation and AI and all the bots and everything else, I'm in. I get it. I get simplifying. I get easy. I get time saving. But I also, and I think everybody needs to recognize that the more we we put that tech between us and the person we're trying to deal with, the more barriers we create, the less relevance we create, and at some point, everybody's kind of the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing you can't get, I mean, if I go and I automate and you automate, we can almost automate the same message to somebody. But the minute we, let's say, both or only one of us picks up the phone, we can now get a serious leg up, right? And this is where I've touted the whole thing, like even with text messaging, like keep the text message in your back pocket. Do not use it as the mass spam, because there are very few little channels we have anymore that people aren't getting spammed on, right? And you think about your social and your email and your, your websites and everything else. Like, we are getting nailed with it, right? So again, you want to prove your relevance, you've got to be involved with people. And if we look at the two audiences we got people we know, we got people we don't know. I will argue till the cows come home that you need to stay in touch with the people you know. You need to keep building those relationships, calling people, talking to people, making it real. Otherwise, some other bot's going to come along and take your business.
Here's something interesting, David, is, for a long period of time, my main lead thing was phone calls. That's kind of what I'm known for. I do a shit ton of phone calls. And I've seen how those have digressed in just usefulness. I mean, use of time, right? So 2 weeks ago, I sacked up and I picked up a stack of business cards here on my desk from my networking events that are thrown for me by, Rockstar Connect. And I picked up the phone and I called people to take them out to lunch. Now, I'm not going to say that it was super easy. I was fucking terrified to make phone calls to people I already knew to invite them to lunch.
Why terrified?
The illogical part. I don't know. A fear of rejection, I think. But I literally puttered around for 30 minutes. Then I, slapped myself upside the head and said, "Stop being a bitch. Get on the phone." And I made a call. And I was honestly scared to make this phone call. And there was just this gal named Kelly. She's a coach. And Matt, we're actually going to have her on the show. We're getting her book. She's freaking awesome. She's super cool. But I made the call. And I'm like, oh, God, maybe she doesn't remember me, right? And I made the call. And I'm like, "Hey, Kelly, this is Greg." She's like, "Hey, Greg, how are you?" Long story short is I booked myself out for 2 weeks with lunches. Extremely simply, people are thanking me. This is one guy thanked me 3 times for calling him to ask him out to lunch. The lunches I've had have been more impactful than I can ever tell you. I've been able to connect people. I've been able to, just sit there and just listen to I had a buddy of mine I talked to the other day and went to lunch with. He was telling me about some of the shit he's going through in life, and kind of where he wants to go in life. These are conversations that cannot take place from online leads. These are interpersonal relationships that you build. And guys, I'm talking about like over a salad, over a burrito, over a burger, over a couple of beers. It's just chilling and building that relationship and seeing where it goes. If you want to radically transform your business, and this took me 19 years to hear. My father has been telling me this for 19 years. I'm a fucking moron for not listening sooner. So don't be me. Go out there and just, if you see someone you haven't seen for a little while, ask them to lunch, cocktails, dinner, breakfast, something where you're able to sit down and break bread with somebody 4 days a week. If you do that, your business will explode, especially if you go out and you just go out and you try to build their business. If you try to help them with where they're trying to achieve in their lives, they will remember you because, well, when's the last time anyone has done that for you? I can honestly bet you can maybe count that on one hand. I mean, Matt, David, when's the last time, Gene, when's the last time someone that came to you and was like, "Hey, David, what's your perfect client look like? How can I help you grow your business?"
No, buddy, but great points there, right? Like you can go and have that burrito, that burger, that whatever. You don't need to talk business.
No.
But you got to remember that the other realtors, loan officers, mortgage brokers, anybody in the industry, any sales, whatever the hell you're selling, any of those people, you're always going to have competition. But by having that burrito and learning about, the fact that they stubbed their toe and blah, 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 that shit that that nobody else knows, you don't have to talk business, but that just made your relationship tighter. And we know it's a relationship business. And when I mention the two groups, this is the thing that kills me. And Greg, you just said it and this is why I question, why are we so scared to make that call? And there's something I joke about even from the stage. It's like, I'm like, what do you say, right? And people look at you, you're like, yeah, what do I say? You're like, hi. How are you? How's it going?
What's up, homie?
Guys, literally, I sent an email the other day to somebody, and I was like, it was, hey, ! Just wanted to say hey. She came back to me. This is the first night of the playoffs. She came back. She goes, "Hey, you, so good to hear from you. You must be so nervous. It's game 1 tonight of the playoffs." And she started going off. We had like a 5 different like reply back and forth email string off of me literally going, "Hey,
it's all it takes." And if these are your past clients, guys, the easiest thing to do is basically just say this: "Hey, I suck. I have not followed up with you for X amount of time. I am a horrible human being. Can I make it up to you? Can I buy you lunch?" Question mark. Boom.
Done. And then they're going to reciprocate.
You do.
They're going to come back, right? Yeah, no, seriously though. And now you broke the ice. You've called yourself out. And look, I said this the other day as well. The worst thing you can hear in life, which isn't that bad, is no. It's no. Right? So, hey, can I take you for lunch? No. Okay, next. Hey, can I do that? No. Hey, next thing you know, if you ask that question enough times, people are going to start saying yes.
But nobody's going to say. I mean, I have had 0 people say no to a free lunch. 0 people say no to a free lunch.
And look, I'm talking anything in general. Ask the question though, right? Always stop being scared about it.
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, can I take you out on a date?" No. Oh shit. Okay. Next girl. "Hey, can I take you out on a date?" No. Oh shit. Okay. "Hey, can I take you out on a date?" Yes. Ah shit.
To be fair,
all right, let's do this.
No isn't the worst thing you can hear. It could be no, something like "No, fatty." So there is levels
There's
of no.
worse. You're right, dude.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about the social media part, because we talked about like sending handwritten, like real handwritten thank you notes, obviously. Then like picking up the phone, calling your database, super simple things. Let's bring it into the social media realm a little bit. So David, if you got a hold of somebody or a group of agents and they basically said, "Just David, tell us what to do. We're willing." Well, we have no fear. We just don't know what to do. So lead us through the process. Dave, what would you like? Where would you have them start?
On social?
Yeah.
Oh, there's 5 things I would tell them to do right away. Number 1, stop being a stalker. Okay? Ooh. If you're on social and you know you're there and you are one of the billions of us, never mind millions, and you're just scrolling, stop just scrolling and start posting something. Right? And so the biggest thing I get from people when they say to me, like, "Start posting something." Well, what is it like? What do I post? Why? My life is not all that exciting. And I'm like, "Your life's not exciting." I'm like, "Who the hell said my life was exciting?" She's like, "Well, I don't know what to post." And like I was saying this, I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, I don't know, last week, the week before, I don't remember what it was. I was speaking at a couple different events. And we were literally, one of the events was on a golf course. So right behind me, palm trees, golf course, you name it. And I'm like, has anybody... yeah, right? Has anybody taken a picture about the fact that this is your office for the day? And they're like, "Huh?"
Right.
I'm like, "Hello." You're going to have people that are going to like, comment, and react on that. You're going to have people that are going to be jealous about that. There's a lot of things there that there's a lot of value in. And when people are so shy and scared of putting that stuff out there, that's how easy it is. So instead of just scrolling, what you want to do is you really want to break it down and get involved. That's one of the first things I would say. So is, post something, okay? Another thing would be to like and react on other people's posts. So again, instead of just scrolling, if you see something about mine, and we're talking about beer, we're talking about podcasts, take that and like it. Never mind just liking it or hearting it or angering or whatever, but actually comment on it. "Hey, Dave, so cool. I know Matt or I know Greg. I've never met these guys, or thanks for introducing me to the podcast, or that's a wicked, like, here. I post a picture of my son carrying his own hockey bag, okay? And so people go like, "Why would you post that?" I'm like, "Why?" Well, first of all, that's a proud moment for me. My son has picked up his own hockey bag finally after years of raising him, and he's carrying that shit out of a rink. I don't have to carry it anymore, so I'm excited for me. But how many other people are scrolling through their feed that see that picture, and I'm commenting on the fact this first time he's carrying, whose bags of their kids they've had to carry that they're excited for me? Like, react, comment, boom. That is engagement, right? So that would be the second thing there is not, or the second and third, okay? So in a sort of a 5-step process here is 1, post something. 2, like and react to other people's posts. 3, comment. Don't just like and react, but actually engage, say something. Remembering this, we want to talk about mindshare. If you put up a post and I go and I comment on it, and next thing I know, or or we both know, somebody either you guys know or I know, goes and comments right after, who are they seeing? Right? Absolutely. It doesn't mean shit for my business, but I've sprinkled a tiny little bit of mindshare out there today where somebody may recognize my name the next time they come across it.
So, David,
So-
an interesting thing about what you're saying here is I was actually very coincidentally yesterday I was watching IGTV and there's a Gary Vee thing in there, and that's exactly what he was talking about. He was talking to this guy who didn't really have that much of a personality, honestly. And he said, look, just go out there and make a comment on 50 other people's posts. You don't have to create your own content. Just get involved in other content that's already created and just put your 2 cents into it. He calls it his $1.80 marketing, $1.80 marketing plan a day. You know, every his 2 cents on everything. And our friend Hank Avick, Coach Hank, you know, he has a 50, 20, 5, and 1 program, the 36 to Life. It's exactly what you're talking about. People are so worried about, no, I got to have the most perfect content on earth. There's nothing perfect in this world. Stop diluting your brain going, oh, my God, well, I have to be absolutely perfect. Well, no, you can't. And if you are perfect, people are going to perceive you as fake, and then you're going to be completely counterintuitive to what you're trying to achieve. So just be authentic to you. Like, you're excited that your son's carrying his hockey bags, right? Totally. For me, I try to view my life and my day. I try to view my day as a book. When I say that, everything is in chapters. Like, this podcast is a chapter in my day. Absolutely. And then, you know, next thing I'm going to do after this is I'm going out with a dude. That sounds really weird. I'm going to go out lunch with a dude.
I'm glad you said it.
I'm like, I'm going to recant that.
Don't worry, Greg. There's no genders, so it's all just humans. We're all
That's
just
right.
humans.
We just have no appendages down below.
That's right.
But what I'm saying is that, you know, I'm going to lunch with a guy, and we're gonna networking lunch, and then I'm gonna go do show prep for my podcast, and I'm gonna do some more stuff after that for clients. These are all chapters, and there is content in every part of your day. It just depends on what you want to share with the rest of the world. And you can be either super personal, super business. You can blend the two of them, but just be a human being that other people can relate to. I mean, David and I have never met. Gene and I know each other very well. We've never met in person. The three of us know automatically right now that we all love beer. So let's talk beer.
Absolutely. Do you guys know my friend Chelsea Pites?
Chelsea's coming on the show in like a month and a half. Yeah, we hooked her up with a couple of clients' podcasts, but yeah, we haven't had her on the show yet. She's
awesome. One of the things, though, that and I steal this line from her, and I've told her very straight up I've stolen it from her, but she always says, you know, she used this analogy one day, and she said, look, when you're telling the world about what's going on out there and you're fearful of it, she goes, what you're really trying to do is connect people to who you are. So, again, I know you like beer. You know I like beer. And then Gene has the Phillies, and I've got the Leafs. We can talk hockey. We can either agree on shit. We can rip into each other. We can make fun of each other. None of it has to do with business, but what it's doing is connecting us closer. So Chelsea had said at one point, she goes, you know, just take a photo of you out on date night. And most people would sit back and go, oh, my God, I don't want to tell people I'm out on date night. Like, that's my privacy. I don't want to tell. No. It's not about tell people what you talked about on date night, but just let people into the fact that you're on date night. Yeah. You see, and there's the thing. Look, you don't need to have a Lamborghini and a mansion behind you to post something on Facebook, right? What you want to do, though, is let people in. And so when we look at the different channels of social, like, I mean, Facebook, and Greg, the way you just said it with, like, the chapters, I love it because that's the way I look at my stories, right? We know stories are a 24-hour window. We know that they're being watched 15 times more than a typical timeline feed, right? Mm-hmm. And now, that's starting to go deeper because when we bring this back, Matt, to the question you had around sort of this group of people that's just kind of starting out, well, maybe Facebook timelines and Instagram timelines and IGTV and stories, maybe it's like way over their heads right now. We just got to talk about simplicities, right? So, you know, just to sum it up with those 5, it would be, again, like and react to posts as you scroll. Don't just scroll. Comment on some of those posts. Get involved. Share other people's posts. But when you share, don't just share. Give your 2 cents. Why are you sharing that? Did you agree? Did you disagree? Was there something in that article that's going to be, and I hate use that like clickbait idea, but enough that I'm going to tap into the article and see that you provided value out there? Post your own content. Okay, so put something up there and then send out a friend request every now and again. And that could even in sort of like kind of do the same thing as like join a group. Right? So I'm in Maple Leaf groups. I'm in Harley Davidson groups. I'm in real estate groups. I'm in groups where I can just connect, talk with other human beings, and if by chance somebody maybe happens to like me and maybe gives 2 shits about who I am, maybe they'll check into who I am and what I do.
But, that won't happen right away. It has to be time.
No.
This is not an instant gratification play. This is a long tail play, and you've got to be willing to put the time in. And it's no different than building any other relationship. You just have to have the ability to be vulnerable and transparent to the general public for the people that are going to come over and they're going to like you, to the people who are not going to like you. But it really doesn't give one shit one way or the other, as long as you connect with your tribe. And we've had guests on, and they said, I can show you how to make $1 million in real estate. And Matt and I were both dead set. We're like, all right, give us your knowledge. How do you make $1 million? They're like, become Tom Cruise famous to 50 people. And I'm like, that's interesting. Become Tom Cruise famous to 50.
A small handful, right? Yeah.
Small handful. These are the people that when they're out, they can't help themselves but tell people. If they hear about real estate, they oh, dude, I don't give a shit who you're talking to. Dude, my boy Greg is right. The guy. If you don't use him, we're not friends anymore because he saved my ass. That's Tom Cruise famous. To 50 people, guys, lunches, coffees, drinks, dinners. Sit down. It's a write-off, for God's sakes. Yep. Sit down, build the relationship, offer something of value, ask how you can make their business better, and then just become human. I mean, Gail Zentek, she sent this to me. This is me and my girlfriend when we just did a Spartan race, and we're covered in mud, and are having a blast. But she sent this to me, and it's been sitting on my desk ever since. Not to mention my chick's smoking hot and ridiculously good at these events and made me look like a chump. She waited for me. I was lumbering behind her. I'm like, just go ahead, man. I'll just catch up. She's like, no, I'll wait for you. She's like a little bunny just bouncing around. I'm like, what the fuck, man? How do you have so much energy? But I mean, sending that card meant the world because I was unexpected and it built a bond. Not to mention, Gail hated me the first time she met me, which even makes our story funnier when you say that we're at BFFs. But now that you know how to build this, now that you know how to do these secrets, David, what have you seen people do in their next steps? How many people freeze and don't take the leap? They don't.
Yeah, totally. No, I love where you're going because I was just thinking in my mind, even when you said it with just it doesn't happen over time, it's a long-term thing, and I mean. My audience being in the real estate industry on a pretty regular basis, one thing that I asked them, I said, when you're talking to somebody who's looking to maybe invest in real estate, what is one of the first things you tell them? And most people kind of look at you like, what's the answer, Dave? And you go, well, it's a long-term investment. Mm-hmm. And much the exact same when it comes back to any of the stuff we're doing with brand building, whether it be on social or sending a card or making the call, going for the burrito, whatever it is, it's a long-term game. You can't expect that, knock, knock, knock. Hi, my name is David. Can I put my sign on your lawn today? Dude, get the hell off my property, right? It's got to happen over time. I mean, look, this takes budgeting. This takes time blocking. This takes ongoing involvement. And really that idea of support, because when we talk about social, if I don't send you that card or do the phone call when I post on social, I may just be another person posting on social. We never make that connection together, right?
Actually, I want to pick Gene's brain here really quickly because he's awkwardly quiet and he freaks me out when he doesn't say anything.
He's a Flyers fan. They're golfing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that means. But I'm not a sports guy, which I'm sitting going,
He's just busted my stones because they're not in the playoffs. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, Gene,
only because I can, because Toronto's finally there.
True.
So, Gene, with this, your job is to be on the social side of it. So if someone, maybe is starting out and maybe they're like Matt and they never leave their house and they're an agoraphobe, how would you help them build relationships online?
Not like what you just did with Matt. That's the piling on method. And he's an agoraphobe, and plus he has gastrointestinitis, and he's also ugly, and not the opposite of that.
That's right.
As you can tell, these guys really love each other.
No, we do. Listen, I think that my big thing is that after I'm listening, I'm taking in everything you guys are saying, and I think a huge part of it, and I don't think I heard anybody say it yet, is evoke emotion. And so, I call that the hoagie theory, right? So what I found is I have a bunch of things like what David's talking about. I'll post random things. Sometimes it's about the Flyers. Sometimes it's about sports because I'm a big sports guy. I also love food. We're from Philly, so the hoagie and the cheesesteak are indigenous to Philly. So people know when I go out, I usually have a review on something that I'm doing, whether it be beer or wine or something that I'm eating. And, a couple months ago, I threw this picture up of a hoagie that's local here, and I just basically touted it as one of the best in the world. It's one of my favorites. And it was just a real simple picture of a hoagie. And literally 400 people remarked, and I know for a fact from going back there were probably 15 to 20 people that went into the deli based off my recommendation. The guy was like, what did you do that all these people are coming in and mentioning your names? I said, you fed me, I mentioned it, people were coming in, right? Yep. But what that does is, so those 15 people that went in there, some disagreed with me, but maybe 4 agreed that was a banging hoagie. Well, guess what? I just evoked their emotion of taste. And they're going to remember me because I posted that picture of a hoagie, right? It sounds so stupid, but I just threw the picture up. They went and tried it. They loved it like I did. I'll always be associated with that hoagie with them. So anytime they're thinking about food, that's just another
very powerful association.
What's that?
That's right. I know when I think of marketing, I think of hoagies.
Of hoagies. Well, but
listen,
those are the things that generate people's responses. They evoke responses.
I agree.
It's always the stupid stuff. It's never the, hey, dude, do you know I have a new program? You should check it out. My ex, what? No, who cares? So who cares? Here's a new beer I tried. You should check it out. This is cool. And I know David would be like, damn, dude, I'm in.
Yeah, but then there's the conversation. It's got nothing to do with biz. This is literally just about hoagies and beer, right? Like my buddy Jay, and to play off what you just said there, Gene, my buddy Jason Frazier is also the man, the agent marketer. 3 L's: live, life, and love. And there's the 3 things that if you can talk about creating content, because a lot of people have a lot of trouble trying to create content and figuring out what to come up with. What can you talk about that is around where they live? Because, it's got nothing to do with you, but here, and I mean, you just brought up hoagies. Like, I go to a butcher shop that's up in my area. These guys are literally Mickatoni's. If you're ever in Oak Ridge, Ontario, they are the best butcher shop you can possibly find. Now, it's funny because I will always post up on my stories about grabbing meat and then, cooking on the barbecue and everything else. Yesterday, I was getting a haircut, and the girl who was, like, rinsing out my hair was like, hey, you go to Mickatoni's? And I'm like, yeah, how did you know? She goes, I see it all over social media. Like, you're always like, whatever. She goes, I went in there, and I know the guys. Bang, conversation.
Yep.
What does it do? It's just conversation.
Yep.
So here's a funny thing. A couple of years ago, I thought I was a marketing genius, right? So what I did is I'm like, I know how to get business in this quarter. I'll pay. I announced that anyone who does business with our team in this quarter, this year, I'll pay you $1,000. Posted it out there. I just sat back and waited for the avalanche of business. It was crickets. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is a genius play. And then like a couple of days later, what I did is I took side-by-side photos of, one, my bachelor guy refrigerator, stark empty with like baking soda in there and a bunch of hot sauce and beer. Then the next photo was it stock full of food ready for the Super Bowl, right? Because I was having people over. I'm like, hey, I'm getting ready for the Super Bowl. Who's ready? Who wants to come over for a beer? Just playing around. Just a torrent of comments and emojis and loves. And this is back when I barely had any friends on Facebook. And it was just amazing because, again, it's an evoking an emotion. And that's where a lot of us, when we post a photo of our open house flyer, there is no emotion in there except for the sudden urge to throat punch you for being so emotionless. So stop posting your stupid flyers for your open houses. Nobody cares about that. There's no emotion there.
You know what I did? I'm so with you. It just made me think. I posted a picture of banana bread the other day. Jen, my wife, she's the best cook in the world. She made this awesome banana bread, which she always does. So I come home and I see a picture of the banana bread. I take a picture of the banana bread. And I put it up on thing, and my comment was, "Hi, my name is David Greenspan, and I'm a..." The amount of comments and reactions I got to that post alone, of people finding it funny. What the hell did that have to do with anything? But you evoke an emotion, right? Yeah. People are like banana bread. They either joke about the fact of like, I am addicted to, right? That whole line of like the AA thing, not making fun of anybody in any case. But, it tugged on something somewhere with people. That's a great point with emotion, man.
You know, I think a lot of us forget to do that because we're people. And then what I call people. Everyone has I call it a superpower. Everyone has a superpower within themselves, and no one really knows how to pull it out or what to look at it. And it's anything that you're really good at and that you can connect with other people on. So like you ride a Harley, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know about Harleys. You can talk about Harleys. You know, if you started talking Harley, you know, about the different types of bikes that are out there, you know, that's going to evoke an emotion in somebody, and you have a superpower involved there. Gene is a superpower of marketing and a superpower of wine and beer tasting. Well, just get out there and start talking about that stuff. Matt has a superpower in agoraphobia, and he knows what germs to stay away from and what not to do, and how many times to wash his hands every single day to make sure he does not get a single germ on him. He's just shaking his head and smiling. Anyone who can see this.
It's just I feel bad for people that are only listening because they can't really see Matt's reactions.
I know.
You really got to watch the podcast to see the reaction.
Yeah, have a vivid imagination, or go to the YouTube channel.
So, Matt, talk to me about the emotion that Greg is invoking from you. Keep it clean.
I'm going to pull a Jeff Sessions and recuse myself.
Very good.
Oh my God. Okay, so in regard, David, so let's talk about starting off. Let's say someone's listening to this or watching this, and they're okay.
Yeah, we talked about that. Can we finish out? Can we finish out by talking about how to convert this into leads and conversations that lead to sales?
Yes,
I'm cutting you. Well, because we covered that. We talked exactly how to work.
Jerk. You're like the bully on the playground, just coming around, just kicking me in the shins and running away.
I know. But I want to talk about middle to the bottom of the funnel before we wrap up. So, David, how do you see it going down? So how do you turn the engagement and the conversations and the attention that you gain on social media, how does that translate into sales? So how do you move people down into the conversations?
I love this one, man. This is that famous thing about, like, I posted on Facebook and nobody bought anything. You know, when you look at but seriously, right? I mean, I put out,
seriously, I had somebody tell me that one of their own clients called them up and said the exact same thing. Like, I need to do more on Instagram. Why? Well, because I need more cash.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the connection? No. Well, if I post more on Instagram, I sell more, right? Like, no, not necessarily.
No. Right. And that there it is, though, right? Like, I mean, I do these like 60-second mindshare rants every Monday. They get released, and the one that I did that was released this Monday was I was actually last weekend making maple syrup with my family up at a cousin's house, and so we had a blast on the weekend. But I thought, like, I was learning a whole bunch about making maple syrup. I don't know if anybody's ever done it before, but I'll shorten this whole thing and say,
we're Americans. We only buy maple syrup.
Buddy, and I'll tell you something.
We don't even know there's a manufacturing process. We assume that trees just spit this stuff out like as is.
Well, but they do, okay? But there is a process in between. It doesn't just go into the bottle, right? So, I mean, but we did come home after we made it. We came home and we literally did a taste test between the stuff we made, the stuff that was made last year, and the shit that we had in the fridge. And I'll tell you, it was the shit that we had in the fridge because the taste was like almost you wanted to spit it out. It was so different. Anyhow, here's where I was going.
Okay.
They do spit the shit out of the tree, but you got to collect it. You have to collect 50 gallons of maple syrup in order to make 1 gallon of finished product. Just put it in perspective, okay? So talk about ROI. When you start to look at this, we had 170 trees tapped. We might have made 50 bottles. Well, you figure about the man hours that went into that, the machinery and everything else. Where's the ROI? Zero. Bupkis. It doesn't exist. You're not making shit, right? So you come back, and I compared this whole thing to social. You need to post and post and post and post and post and post just to build mindshare. Because if you expect that every single time you post, or after 100 posts, or if you get a video that gets over 1,000 views, you're just going to make money, let me be a dose of reality for you. You're kidding yourself. Okay? Yeah. It doesn't work that way. So what happens with that now is, so I've connected with you on social. We've got an ongoing relationship building. Depending on who you are, what the sort of connection point was, if I'm in real estate, I mean, everybody, typically speaking, everybody I meet goes into my database. What marketing you get turned on for, well, that's a different story. But one thing I know now is you're in my contact list for a quick lookup of notes, of phone number, of an email address. If I ever want to flip you something about beer, okay, or hoagies, I've got you there. So the first thing is, let me build my book of business. Don't just have these people in the social media world and go, hey, they're up there. You know, one day they'll call. Wait. So now we take these people, stick them into the contact list. So now you figure, and we already said it.
We lose them? No.
Ooh, I think we completely lost him.
What the hell
All
happened there?
I don't know.
Greg, you're on mute still.
No, I'm here.
Did you
Interesting.
catch
Well,
that? Did you catch that? The recording started and stopped?
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
my fault. My
Yeah,
fault. Hit the wrong
maybe it was
button.
just one of us.
Oh, okay.
No,
that
that's fine.
wasn't a
But I
fluke.
think we just lost David, so we'll have to bring him back. Okay. Gene, thoughts before we and let's make sure we get a good call to action for you and before we bring things back and wrap the show up.
Are we live right now? Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
rolling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Listen, I think that was great. We've been talking about this over the last couple of shows where we're moving from one to many marketing, one person to many people, down to one. And the one thing we didn't get a chance to talk to David about, which I would have loved to have gotten into space, is he didn't mention anything about jumping into people's DMs. Like maybe taking 5 DMs a day and saying, hey Matt, just saw your post last week. Was thinking of you, man. How are things? When are you in town? We'd love to grab some coffee. I just wonder if you do
Couldn't
that
agree
5
more.
times a day on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, what does that yield for you?
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. Yeah, and it's something we've talked about with like Coach Hank and what he teaches people in the 36 to Life program. You've got the fundamentals of the things that'll get you attention, but then you've got the things that drive conversations. And that's what I was really getting at, is that that's where the majority of agents who are, quote, active on social media, if you talk to them behind the scenes, you find out that their social media presence is not actually driving any sales. What's driving sales for them is their database, their referrals, the leads they're paying for. It's a whole bunch of stuff. But when you get down to it, there's a break in their idea of how they use social media that's causing that break in lead flow, which is that they're not turning the engagement and the conversations they're having on social media into offline conversations, which is the point I was making by quoting Ryan Dice at the top of the show, that marketers in general have fallen into that trap. We've fallen into the trap that engagement and attention equals sales. And that's only true if we do a good job of converting them into real conversations. So going back to Greg, all the skills that you built up from the thousands of hours that poor chair has had to endure your ass sitting upon it making phone calls, all those skills that you built up are extremely valuable. And now you're using social media to generate more of those conversations as opposed to just being able to pick up the phone and call people, because you're seeing that become less effective.
Yeah, I mean, a week ago right now, during our live show last week, got a text from one of my clients that I sold him the house 16 years ago. He picked up the phone call and he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry I haven't reached out to you in 16 years. Would you come over and list my $2.2 million home and help me buy another 1.5? And by the way, I have another investment property I need to sell, and I need to buy another property. 4 deals, about $5 million, $6 million in volume off of a client that's 16 years old.
That's called the apology accepted method.
Yes.
Right?
Apology accepted method.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was hilarious. But it's
Oh, man.
It is, it's twofold. It's the long-term, short-term, and people you get caught up in the short-term lead gen when it's the long-term play for getting the referrals. Everyone's I want to have referrals. Gail and her husband Steve, she's been doing send-out cards for, I think you said, Gail, I think you said 12 years now, and she gets 100% of her business through referrals, but that didn't happen in one day or 1 year, and David is back. It happened long term over sending cards every single day, 3 cards a day, give or take, whatever you can send, and being very, very hyper focused on building that relationship with the individuals around you. And it's like filling a cup. Your cup does not overflow with water the moment you turn the faucet on. That just doesn't happen. It takes time for the glass to fill, and then if you keep doing that actions, you will continually receive referrals. I have a guy I went out and talked to him on Wednesday about listing his property. Guys, I've been following up with this gentleman for 2.5 years. Every 6 months, he could list with any other agent that works that marketplace, but he won't. He told me because he works only in long-term relationships, and because I've followed up and have stayed in contact with him every 6 months, I'm going to either buy his house as an investment or I'm going to help him sell it. Whatever he chooses is going to make the best sense. So it's just picking an action, staying consistent, staying within the mind share, and going forward. By the way, David, welcome back, man.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm not have no idea what happened there. It seems like the net connection was down, so I just
No worries.
did a quick reboot.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're able to get you back, because then I can ask you directly instead of speaking for you. How do people connect with you?
Absolutely. If you can't find me, I've screwed something up royally. But if you can check me out, mindshare101.com. So if you go to the website, mindshare101.com, you can find me there. On Facebook, it's at mindshare101. And then on Instagram, unfortunately, because some person took my handle before I got it, it's at David Greenspan 101. So you can check me out there on Insta. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever fine social medias are found.
Right.
Find social media.
For the discriminating. Discriminating social media taster.
Got the podcast, the Mindshare podcast as well for anybody. Again, you can listen to that on iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it. It's all there.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. And then, Gene, same question for you.
So you can find me anywhere on social media, Gene Volpe. You go to genevolpe.com. GVImedia.com, or go to Instagram, the Gene Volpe.
Greg, how and why? Why in the world? Why would someone want to talk to you? And how should they accomplish this task?
I'm a sexy piece of man meat, Johnson. It's about time you bow down and recognize that. That's why people are going to reach out and talk to me.
WWE superstar right there.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God. The reason why someone would reach out is, in all non-jesting, is because we want to talk about EXP, and we talk about how we can help you guys with the tribe that we're building, and the people we get to surround ourselves with, like David, like these legends. And we didn't even get to scratch the information in David's brain on how much there is to learn from him. But if you guys want to, literally, I can show you how to make more money. Do the same amount of work, build long-term wealth for you and your family, build in a protection plan and a 401k through stocks and everything else, and how to have reoccurring income come in just by having conversations and being connected with the people that we have in our group. Guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, that's bookmcdaniel.com, and there is where you can find the information about the tribe and what we can do for you. So that's why people can also, if you guys do reach out to me, I will give you Matt's personal cell phone so you can harass him with text messages throughout the weekend. So that is just an added bonus by joining our team. Matt, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, they cannot, but you can go review the show. So go to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever, and especially iTunes. Make sure to go in there and give us a 5-star review with a quick note, especially if you like a particular guest episode like David's. Make sure to give him a shout-out in the review. Thank him for his time and his contribution. Gentlemen, any last words before we choose the color of the bow that shall be wrapped around this package of an episode?
No, I think it's just a lot of good stuff. David, I think the information that you brought up and the content is something that I think people that hear this might take this and be like, oh, that's so easy. I can do this. I'll start tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll start in an hour. I'll start whenever. Building these relationships, you do yourself the biggest detriment you can ever do, because what's going to happen is someone else in your marketplace, someone else in your brokerage that's going to hear this message from either us or someone else is going to take action this instant, and they're going to build a relationship in the mind share of someone else that could have been your client, but yet you procrastinated, and then you're not going to get the business because I call it shelf assurance. You heard this, you're like, oh, this is so great. I'm going to take this whole information, I'm going to put it on a shelf, and I'm going to feel assured that it's sitting there waiting for me to do something with. When in reality, you just got to jump in with lead boots on into the deep end of the pool and start figuring out how to swim. And just like me, guys, look, I got scared to pick up this card right here and call my friend Kelly, who I know, to take her to lunch. I was afraid to do it. It's taken me 19 years to get over that fear. Please don't let yourself be me. Please take action today. Get out there. Start doing this stuff. Because you know what? The millennial who you think just got into the business, the little whippersnapper that's in your office, they're going to beat you fucking senseless in 18 months because they're building mindshare now, and you're going to rely on your old tactics. You'll never get there. They will beat you up and spit you back out, but not if you start making mindshare today. So that's my rant.
All right.
I'm done.
Don't be like Greg. Valuable life advice for us all. So let's finish out with that. I'm going to do a let's do a lovely orange bow upon this episode, kind of like an Iron Man, like in honor of whatever the shirt that you decided to wear for today's show, Greg. Yeah.
Can I throw one thing in there for it just before we take off? Is just real quick there, guys. For everybody listening, just to piggyback off what Greg just said, AMH, Audience Marketing Hustle, always thinking about it that way. When you go to MindShow101.com, if you go to MindShow101.com, download the free ebook. It will walk you through the AMH theorem. But always focus on delivering the right message to the right audience across the right channel. Do it consistently, like we said over and over today. Apologies, I got cut off on there on sort of where we were going down that rabbit hole a few minutes ago. But on the overall, I want to say just thank you to you guys for having me on the show today. It's been awesome.
Dude, it's our pleasure. Thanks for having us. Right. Thanks for coming on. We're going to get you back. We're going to keep you. We're going to put you in a cage in the downstairs basement. We're not letting you out. Okay, you're going to stay with us. And we're going to feed you beer. That's all we're going to do.
Hey, cage in the basement with beer. I can do it.
And hockey. Exactly. Big screen with TV with hockey. All right, so guys, we're going to put a nice orange bow in care of my shirt, which isn't orange, but whatever. It's red, Matt. You colorblind fool.
What about the design of Iron Man? Is that part's orange? It looks orange to me. It
looks orange from here too. Yeah, definitely orange.
Thank you, Gene. All right, finally a voice of reason.
So it's finally it's confirmed we have two colorblind people on the show. Anyways,
hey, I wanted to ask, how do you guys like my white shirt?
Yeah, exactly.
All you guys who are listening, he has a black shirt on.
I don't see color, David. That's we don't.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right, Gregory, let's wrap it up.
All right, guys, we love you. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Please like, share, and comment. Go, tag David in the post on iTunes if you're going to give a shout out to him for his time. We love you guys. We appreciate you more than you know. And until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.